This is tragic. It needs to be remedied because who could live without chili oil? Let's make it. What I use is, let's start with the hot stuff. I use my own cayenne peppers, and these are anchos. It's the dried version. They're not crispy though. They're from the store. Then I have some aromatics. That's anise, star anise, some peppercorns, some clove, and bay leaf. And I will put it in here so I don't have to fish it out. I will also put in an onion and a whole lot of garlic. For the anchos, I use the scissors to cut that front part off and then just get the seeds out. It's not important to remove every last seed because I'll have seeds from the cayenne peppers anyway, but a little less is good. So because the ancho is so pliable and gummy, it's kind of hard to make small pieces, so I just cut them in these medium-sized things with scissors. That works best. And then put them in the blender, and out come the flakes. Now, you can do this with any peppers. The heat or the sweetness is up to you. You can also buy the chili flakes and use them when they're already done. My store had these, and I have so many of the cayenne peppers, so that's my mix I usually use. Cayenne gets a blast in the blender too. If I make cayenne powder, I use a coffee grinder, an electric coffee grinder, but this is good for flakes. Perfect. I'm pretty sure I have to sneeze here in a second. Maybe I'll take the greenery out. I wasn't very thorough. Now to the heating process. So that's about roughly a cup, maybe a little bit more of neutral oil. Oil that can take high temperature. I have grapeseed oil in there, and then I will top off later with some avocado oil. And I'm putting this entire onion that's finely chopped in the oil. And we'll let this go until tiny little bubbles come up. I do not want to fry these. I just want to basically dry them out in the oil. So this is it takes a little while. And don't put the garlic in yet because that would burn. First we'll take care of the onions. This might be a little unusual for chili oil to have that much onion in it, but they make it so delicious and so sweet in the end, it's worth it. And then there's also the spice mix in my handy dandy little thing. And I'll just nestle this in there, and that way the spices get the flavors, the aroma infused in the oil too. It's been 10 minutes, it's bubbling along nicely. They are all getting a little more translucent and have already shrunk in size, which means some water evaporated. The temperature should be around 200 or below. It's just a very, very soft simmer. It's been about 20 minutes. The onions are coming along nicely. They are getting smaller. This is really like rendering lard. You just have to go slow until all the moisture is out. And at this point I add the garlic. Of course, if the garlic pieces are thicker, I'll run this through the press. If they're thicker, they can be added a little bit earlier. But it's really important not to burn the garlic. When it gets close to being done, when they're bubbling along happily and they keep reducing in size, it's now almost time for them to switch the color a little bit. That's when I take the other spices out, but I found some dehydrated lemon rind. Now put that in. Orange rind works too. This isn't in the recipe, this is just stuff I throw in when I run across it. While we wait on these onions to finish, here is how I use this. And of course there are 1,000 opportunities to use it. This one is over, that was tofu, Chinese something, I forgot. Then it's great on scrambled eggs or in noodle soup and on Chinese stir fry, of course. But really it goes with everything, on soft boiled eggs, on bread, on pasta. It's very addictive. I warn you ahead of time. This is how far I let them go. They're starting to float now. The bubbles are all shallow and they just have a little bit of color. So then we have to make sure it's around 250, the temperature is. And this is simple. It all goes in at once. I stir it up once. This is gonna make me sneeze, it's hot. And then I do not cook this. I shut the temperature off and remove it from the heat. It's cooled for a bit and it's time to test this. Let's just put it on the tip to adjust the seasoning. Oh, it's hot. I'm gonna add soy sauce. This will add a little bit of saltiness to it too. And I think it needs more salt though, so I add a little bit of salt and just a tiny sip of sesame oil. Now, this is going to be really hot, especially if you use cayenne peppers. But once it sits for a week or two, the ancho peppers will mellow it out. It will be sweeter. I need to sneeze. Ah, it went away. It'll turn out, it has this sweet undertone from the onion and then the hotness from the peppers. And really, the longer it sits, the better it is. It's so beautiful. Wow. Lined up, I got 4 glasses out of it. This one is already in use. It'll go in the refrigerator, and the rest I cap and put it in the freezer for maximum freshness. And it's nice to have them in store. The shelf life in the refrigerator, I would say 3 months, something like that. I mean, I've never had a bad one, but then ours really doesn't last all that long.